Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 90 Degree Show, hosted by the Marching Podcast and Blog Talk Radio. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. And here's your host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
Welcome to the 90 Degree Show. I'm your host, Joe Beard, and happy to be of service for you tonight. Today is September 20th, 2015, 5 o'clock on the West Coast and 8 o'clock on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening live and or listening in podcast form, whether through iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, our website, Facebook, Twitter, or wherever you are on the interwebs this evening. At the end of the broadcast, if you decide you like the show, then we appreciate a donation to the network, if you feel so in your heart, of course. Just simply go to themarchingpodcast.com and click on the donate button to help improve the show and help build our scholarship fund. All right, thanks for listening tonight. I can't even get it straight. You know what I'm saying? I put my kids, you know what I'm saying? That throws you off when your regiment's off. I thought I'd bathe them first, and, you know, I'm halfway off here and there, so you can't even get the script right. But thanks for listening tonight. Anyway, we welcome you again to the 2015 season for the 93 Show. Happy to talk to you another year about our beloved schools. And this year we're happy to have our round table of experts again to this time for you to call in and give us your opinion on the shows and be part of the show as well. I want to go ahead and let you guys hear the intro panelists as we always do. I'll bring them in like we did. The great Christy Walker. How you doing this evening, Miss Christy Walker?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting it all together. Birthday weekend, my son, he's free Wednesday, so we doing everything, wilding out, and yeah, my regiment's off. But thank you very much for being here. Thanks for the text. Christy Walker sent me happy birthday, y'all. So I am special. That's right. I have her in my phone. So people are like, yeah, you know, I know. You know what I'm saying? I know.
You are crazy.
The great owner and founder of Block Band Music had to give him some love on the interview I did. We'll be talking about that after the music dies down. But the great Rashad Watters, what's going on tonight, man?
Hey, man.
What's going on?
About another hour or 2 hours of running my mouth, man. We just got done with our Rangers Corner meeting. Every weekend, we bring all the arrangers from Block Band together, and we talk about different concepts. So today we were talking about the baritone and all its many uses. So I'm running my mouth there, and I'm about to run my mouth some more.
That's all right. Rashad has a lot of meetings and calls a lot of conference calls to get things going on and get folks on the same page, if you will. So you guys definitely check out blockbandmusic.com. Again, thanks for listening for tonight. So the show, and I'm sure Ashley will be calling in soon. The show we'll talk about tonight, we'll talk about the Boombox 2015. I got to check out FAM, South Carolina State. I got to check out Elizabeth City and Virginia Union. I was just like, yo, the footage is crazy. I know you guys got a lot. Christy, who you get to check out this week?
Oh, my goodness. Well, thanks to the wonderful Periscope, I got to check out the Boombox Classic, which included the Midnight Madness Battle of the Bands between Southern and Talladega. So that whole weekend of stuff. Also, I got to see the same with Elizabeth City and Virginia Union at I think it was a high school battle of the bands that was going on there. And let's see, I probably saw some other folks as well. I saw a little bit of FAM, but not too much. Yeah, so those were the main ones that I was looking at.
Cool. Rashad, who did you get a chance to check out this week?
Man, pretty much all of those. Just like you said, man, I'm really about to think about investing in this Periscope, man. We need to put our money where our time is. But I did see South Carolina State and FAMU. The whole fifth quarter and the halftime show was there, and some of the stuff at the fans. Saw the Boombox Classic being the halftime show, and also the fifth. Didn't catch the zero, though, but I saw some of the stuff at the stands. It's real live time. It's awesome. And then, and of course, the Windbox Classic on that, because it's tornado versus the box, Anyway, I saw that. I did see Virginia Union and Elizabeth State. I can talk about that. I didn't think we were talking about that, but if we talk about that, I can talk about that.
Yeah, man, just whatever you got to get your eyes on. I know, it's really cool. Like if I get this note, if I get to check it out, whatever it is, and then I still have to figure out how to save something. Like I got to check out the fifth for South Carolina State and FAM. I was watching some of it on Periscope, but I let it, lapse or whatever. So, if someone, knows that here or out there listening, 718-664-6025, school me. You know what I'm saying? Break me down.
There is a way to do it. I just don't know how, because when I first used Periscope for the Queen City Battle of the Bands, I did like a little recap. Me and my buddy did a recap in the car, and I wanted to save that. So there was a guy that I'm friends with on Facebook, and he saved it. I can try to find out how he did that, but I guess it's doable.
Yeah, I know Ashley.
You can save your own, but I don't think you can save somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Sorry?
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, well, I don't know. I know Ashley said something last week about putting something in your gallery or putting something somewhere. But, yeah, we definitely have to do that. I just want to give a round of applause to all of the band heads out there using Periscope. We are a beautiful people, just let me say. And I will say watching the film is cool because it makes me feel like I'm there, but the comments are off the chain. So shout out to everybody saying something. I don't know what it is, why everything's so funny to me. Maybe I'm getting old or something, but wow.
I'll tell you why, because it's instant, and it's kind of like, imagine all, 100 band heads in a room together watching the same thing, just having a conversation. Like, you're going to get some stuff that's crazy. So,
right.
That's why it's funny.
Yeah. Well, I laughed. I definitely will go into it. So tonight we'll talk about all those. And then in the third, we'll let Rashad and Christy go in the first segment, take a break, and then we'll let Ashley and myself go in the second. Then the third, final segment, we'll open the lines for you to call in, let us know what's going on. We'll talk about news and issues around our bands, around our schools. Of course, in the last segment, you can email the show at marchingpodcast@gmail.com, tweet us at marchingpodcast, and follow our blog, blog4.themarchingpodcast.com. Christy, while I have you on the air, what is the URL for your blog, Diary of a Female Bandhead?
Yes. So first of all, I got to say you can always check me out on the fifth quarter, which is www.the5thquarter.com. But I also have a personal blog called Diary of a Female Bandhead, and you can just find that at www.femalebandhead.com.
Okay. And Rashad, of course, as we know, you are one of our sponsors, so, I will give, and the people will hear your information as well, okay? If you are listening live and have a Blog Talk Radio account, you can log into the chat room and leave your comments there. Last and definitely not least, please check out the website, themarchingpodcast.com. Let's take the time to hear from our sponsors as I mute our beloved panelists. Tonight's show is brought to you by Block Band Music, Liquid Effects Photography, The Edge One Productions. Shout out to you, Garrett, You always holler at him with the Boombox or anytime, we want to feature Southern. So shout out to him and shout out to all the folks. We'll let you know who we checked out tonight. And Block Band Music and Publishing and HBCUbands.com. And shouts out to you, Gerard. Let's take the time to hear from all those folks now.
What's up? This is Damon Million, Trump Funk, class of 2006 at Jackson State. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
Having an anniversary party, birthday party, or better yet, you're about to marry that special someone? Liquid Effects Photography is the perfect choice to immortalize all your most special moments. With 10 years of dependable professional service that can deliver from the conventional to the best in cutting-edge technology and creativity. Come experience the uniqueness of Liquid Effects Photography. We serve the entire upper Midwest and will travel further upon request. Come check us out at liquideffects.com. That's LIQUIDEFFEX.com. Or call us at 773-454-5556. That's 773-454-5556.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge One Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
Chopping It Up is a podcast of one-on-one interviews with positive role models that have a connection through music and or education. Chopping It Up is all about inspiring our youth for a great future and providing a roadmap on how to get there. We also chop it up to give insight to anyone looking for information or hope in their endeavors. Chop it up with us on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at blogtalkradio.com/marchingpodcast. Chopping It Up, changing the world through positive interaction.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
Hey, it's the Edge One, Southern University's class of 2013 graduate. You're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
Excuse me. All right, welcome back. Oh, all right, welcome back. Thanks for tuning back in with us. The South Carolina State, I forgot what the name is. Bless South Carolina State University. About to say the Bongo Brothers, but I think that's just the drum section. Bringing us in from this weekend, or actually from Thursday of last week, they had a game with Florida A&M. Got to check that out during the week. Again on Periscope, they're live. So again, shouts out to South Carolina State. Really good battle with them and Florida A&M last week. Okay, So again, I'm going to unmute our microphones here, and I will pass the floor to Christy here in the first segment to tell us what she saw here in week 3. So yes, you have the floor, Christy.
Oh my goodness. Okay, put me on the spot, ladies first, huh?
Yeah. You know, just because people really listening to this show for you. So
right.
So it's
sure,
like,
Joe.
okay, right. So they like, listen to Joe. We hear Joe all the time.
Well, okay. So what I saw was the Midnight Madness Battle of the Bands between Southern and Talladega. That was an experience. Even though I wasn't there in person, I felt like I was. It was the first time that these two schools battled. Well, no, it wasn't the first time, was it? I'm trying to think. But the first time they did it kind of like in a Midnight Madness kind of format out in Baton Rouge. So both of the bands faced each other. There was a lot of it was a pretty loud event. I mean, everybody loves a little ignorance, so
right.
I'm here for the ignorance. That was just really loud. I have to say, I wasn't that impressed with either of the bands because I felt like Southern was holding out a little bit because they knew that they were going to play J-State tomorrow. Like that next day. I mean, I know that they had a very busy day in front of them, a busy weekend. And Talladega, I have to admit they kind of underwhelmed me a little bit. I mean, a couple of years ago, I felt like they were everybody's sleeper band, nobody really knew about them, and they just popped up on the HBCU band scene kind of recently and took everybody by surprise. But now I feel like everybody knows who they are. They just really didn't take it to the next level to me. I mean, both bands had songs that they did very well in, but I thought it was just loud. I mean, yeah. So that's all I have to say about that. Well, no, actually, that's not all I have to say about that, but I'll let Rashad say his thing, and I'll probably interject. And so the next day was the Boombox Classic, which was Jackson State versus Southern. And I felt like, let's see, Southern, I thought both of the schools did a decent job at halftime, but it wasn't really anything that impressed me too much. I didn't like the jab that Jackson State did with Southern. So they formed the words "Go Fund SU," like "Go Fund Me," and I thought that was kind of a low blow, especially. All of our HBCUs are struggling in some kind of way. So for a band to come out and say, "Go fund SU," I mean, I just think that was just kind of tacky. In the fifth, I felt like Southern had the edge a little bit because, I mean, Southern pulled out some really good songs, like that "Welcome to the Jungle." Oh, man, that was really good. And they also played the Lizelle in E-flat, which is better known as "He Loves Me" by Jill Scott. I thought they did a good job with that, although I felt like the dynamics could have been a little bit better executed. But, I mean, the arrangements of those were good. I thought Jackson had a pretty solid fifth, and I feel like they have a pretty solid program. But my one issue with Jackson is that I feel like they get drowned. I feel like the low brass drowns out their trumpets, especially when they play Jupiter by Earth, Wind & Fire, where, that line, the trumpet line, I could barely hear it. I felt like I was straining my ears just to hear the trumpets in that. And I was like, oh, man, come on. It's like you really let me down. My ears were ready to hear it, and it let me down. But I thought that Jackson State, otherwise I thought they did okay, but I would give the slight edge to Southern. I'm just curious to hear what Rashad thinks about the past weekend's events.
All right, so now I know you got a chance to check out I saw you in there. You were checking. Okay, before I lose my concentration. Okay, so I'm glad you brought up the Welcome to the Jungle. I was watching Periscope, so I started laughing because someone said that Joe Clark was about to come out. I don't know why I thought that was funny.
It was probably Ashley. In my mind when that was playing, that whole scene from Lean On Me, when, you have the East Side High that was like a really good school, and then you see it deteriorate, and you see the graffiti on the wall, and you hear, Axl Rose and them come in with "Welcome to the Jungle," and it's pretty much like a zoo in there. So that whole scene from Lean On Me went through my mind when I heard that.
Yeah, and then it caught fire because then a lot of people was posting something after that, like, about Lean On Me, or, what I'm saying. So I thought that was really funny. Yes. So what about the Elizabeth City, Virginia Union battle? I think Ron C. provided that.
Yeah.
What did you think about that?
I thought, well, first of all, let me give a shout-out to both of the directors because they are female band directors at HBCUs, which is a rarity, and they both have really solid programs. Yes, got to look out for my ladies. Got to look out for my ladies. And so I thought they did a really good job. Both programs are on the come up. I remember covering bands when Virginia Union, they've only been in existence recently for the past couple of years. Sorry?
About 3 years, I think.
Yeah. So, I definitely remember a time when there wasn't one, and, talk in, the Richmond area was to try to get a band going. I'm glad they're up and running. And I've everywhere I've gone and people have talked to me about bands, I've always had nothing but good things to say about Elizabeth City's program. I think the staff there is doing an awesome job, and it was my first time seeing Virginia Union this year, and I thought they did very well, good as well. I love it when small bands can put out a really good sound. It shows that there's no dead weight or no horn holders. The worst thing is to have a band that's large in numbers, but they sound small. I'm all about, directors maximizing their sound. And, I thought Virginia Union as well as Elizabeth City put on a very entertaining show. And, I think they are repping the CIAA very well. I would love it if both of those schools could go to the Honda to see, just to show, what they could do. And, of course, neither one of those schools have ever been there. So, we'll wait to see how that unfolds later. But, overall, I'm pretty impressed with both of those schools.
Okay. Yeah, that's what's up. I enjoyed the commentary and that one as well. I will save the part that was actually the highlight of my weekend at that battle. I'll save that for when I go. Yes. So was there anything else that you wanted to let us know about week 3, Christy?
Well, as I put on my blog, I feel like there are, there in the latest edition of my blog, which I put out this morning, I just feel like they're clear-cut winners and losers. And as an example, Periscope is definitely a winner. It's changing the game. I can't talk about that enough. But I feel like this year we just have an abundance of struggling programs, and I feel like they're more prevalent than before because it's been like a drastic fall-off for some programs out there. So I'm wishful that they could get things back on track. A lot of times it's due to things that are completely out of their control. For example, administration, shrinking scholarships and so on. But I wish nothing but the best for them. There are some bands that I have not seen yet, so I'm really curious about what Delaware State is doing. I haven't heard about Kentucky State. You know, there's and these are just ones coming up off the top of my head. I actually saw a clip of Morgan yesterday as well. And let me find out Morgan has swollen up. I mean, I did not know they were swole like that. I always took them to be like a little bit bigger than a Block 96, a little bit bigger, but not that much bigger. But I mean, they look pretty big. I saw a picture of them, and I saw some clips of them online, and they're doing well too. So I mean, it's week 4 at this point, and I don't feel like I've seen everybody, but I know that I've seen a lot more than I have at this point than in previous years, just because of Periscope.
Yes, I totally agree. And Morgan State was actually one of the sleeper bands that we had in our award show. You guys can check out the 2015 Martian Podcast Awards from this past year, and that was one of the sleeper bands a couple of us brought up. We've actually been noticing Morgan kind of slowly doing their thing, and of course hopefully with Periscope we can add them on. But yeah, maybe some of our coverage and some of the bands that we've all seen. I know Rashad has posted something in a group or on Facebook or something about how many bands he's seen to this point. So definitely, hopefully we can get them and Delaware State and Bowie State and the Savannah States, get them some more press as well. And hopefully that's why we're doing what we're doing. Hopefully we can get them some more support.
I haven't even seen Fort Valley or Albany.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I haven't seen either of those schools, and I wonder what's going on with them. So,
definitely.
The season's still young, so.
Well, that's outstanding. Outstanding for the great Christy Walker. Now, Rashad Watters, how was your week there, brother?
Oh, my bad.
What are you doing?
Runs a little long, but sorry. All right, so let's see here. We got, man, it was a great weekend for battles. Let me just say I was very, very excited and really enjoyed the battles that I saw, because it was really 3 major different battles. Like, the battle between Southern and Talladega was nothing like the battle between Southern and Jackson. Like, they were 2 completely different battles.
True.
But then the battle between Sam and South Carolina State was, like, completely different than that. Like, the level of music that all of these bands are playing is so amazing. So I'll go ahead and start right in the order. So the first one would have been South Carolina State and FAMU. I saw the halftime show for both of the bands, and honestly, I don't really remember a lot about them. I don't really remember either halftime show being all that spectacular. What I will tell you is an overall synopsis of the 2 bands. First of all, FAMU. God is blessing that band. I'm going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you have something happen to someone where they lose their life? You know, was that 5 years ago, 6 years ago now?
It was 2011.
Wow.
2011.
Mm-hmm.
And the band program is gone. And now they're back at 200 plus again. How did that happen?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why the Lord? I couldn't believe it. It was my first time really seeing Fam in performance. It's like, oh my gosh, like, if they're not 300 people right now, it's hard to tell, because they are spreading that field pretty well. And they sound pretty doggone good. We talked, I think, particularly the year before last when they first getting started, about how they really didn't have a lot of that depth. You know, there's a lot of first trombone, a lot of first trumpet, but you didn't really hear the depth of the sound. But as they're growing, you can hear it there. They're not quite where they were before, but honestly, I'll give them another year before they really start running through people. I am that confident in Fam right now.
Yeah,
I think they're very, very quickly and doing very well as a program.
I always liked the smaller Fam anyway. I always liked Fam when they had smaller numbers, because I felt like it was tighter. They were tighter then.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way. I just don't like seeing all them people on the field. And, you know, and I like how they look smaller. And, they're still able to do what they want, like the fam drills, but like you said, it looks better. It doesn't look as cluttered to me.
Now, of course, they're still doing those get there drills, and, we always have an issue with that. Everybody, okay, you just go get there, like how they make ESPN.
Right.
Other bands are, getting there in squads that looks nice and clean and all that, and they're just kind of, all right, let's go get there. But really, they didn't do anything. They just kind of did some stuff in ESPN, and then they took a bow. Like, that was kind of boring. But overall, I thought the halftime show was good. It just wasn't anything memorable, and I thought the same with South Carolina State. FAMU is quickly growing back to where they were. South Carolina State is trying to find themselves right now.
Yeah.
You can tell. They're trying to find themselves. And South Carolina State, and this statement I'm about to say fits everything that they played. South Carolina State has an MF problem. South Carolina State has an MF problem. And it's not what you think it's saying. They have a meso forte problem. And
I was like, I was totally thinking the other way. I thought you was gonna flip it or some way. You put music out there.
You looking for the bleep button real quick.
I know. I was like, how you gonna flip that?
What I mean by that is this. Okay, when you have a really loud band program, they're used to cranking. There's a certain way that you play, and you may or may not be playing proper technique, okay? But here's what happens. When you take a band that plays like that and you try to rein them back, there's like a gap that so many bands have. And I know band directors across the country can testify to this. There's a gap between like double forte and mezzo forte. And your kids, they can't live in that gap. They're either going to play double forte, or if you say, listen, don't play so loud, play with blend and balance, then they'll play with mezzo forte. And they won't play louder than that. And you're like, no, it's okay to play loud. I want you to play loud with expression, but just sound good when you do that. And as soon as you pull a band back, they're lost. And they have a hard time playing class at mezzo forte that sounds so good. Man, it's the greatest mezzo forte ever. But, music is more than just mezzo forte. It's about playing at those loud volumes but just sounding good. And that's where South Carolina State is right now. If you watch their show, you can hear them not really bring it. But guess what? What happens is the last song that they play as they're coming off the field is Get Up for the Bulldogs. And all of a sudden you can hear the old band come back. And that's what you hear all day long with South Carolina State, is that they're struggling with their identity right now, that they are trying to use that tone quality, that the guy from FAM is trying to teach them. They're trying to play that way, but they don't know how to do that and play loud. But anytime they play a song that they played last year, then they play that loud because that's what they know.
That's what they know.
Yeah, that's what they know. It's going to be a little while before they get there. But this is what you see back and forth between South Carolina State and FAM the whole time. I personally love the fifth quarter battle. A lot of people said it was boring. I thought it was fantastic because, to me, playing a lot of marches simply means, you know what, we don't have to play a bunch of marches. But if you want to play, concert classical stuff at me, I'm just going to march you to death until you run out. I can respect that. And that's what FAMU did. They would say, okay, we'll just play another march at you. And FAMU sounded incredible. And the difference is that FAMU is now to a point where they can play with power and still sound good. Like in the jazz song, I want to say the Stompin' the Savoy or whatever that is, it's like that power section that they have in that song is actually pretty loud, but it sounds really good. For instance, South Carolina State, you notice like a lot of times, it's like no matter what they play, whether it be concert stuff or marching band or R&B stuff, when they got to the power sections, they never really brought it. So the clear victory, I would say, would have to go to Florida A&M right now. I'm excited for that program and what's going to be happening with them in the future. But also, I'm very, very excited because I would love to show, any person outside of show style band, hey, look at this. Or here's a band playing. They're playing Barnum & Bailey's Favorites, and this band is playing Invictus by memory. I mean, that was a pretty awesome battle that they had. All right. So now let's go to the very opposite battle.
You got that right.
Right.
That was something. That was. So Sorry, Rashad. You have the floor.
So, Southern versus Talladega, and to sum it up, I will agree with what somebody posted on the 5th, which was the fact that I didn't really see that much of a big difference between the two bands like you did in the Southern. I think that Southern, I know that Southern practices like crazy. I got one of my guys on my staff in Southern band. He's always practicing, like always, like always practicing. And so I know that they have an endurance level that's probably far beyond most other bands. And I think that that's really what helps them to continue to sound at certain levels throughout the battle, whereas eventually over time you start to hear Talladega start to wear a little bit. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Rashad, can you are you talking directly into your mic?
Oh, you can barely hear me? Hang on.
I can hear you going in and out. Like
that's what she said. Hello?
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay, I think that's a little bit better.
Okay. I was saying on the 5th that, you know.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's real good, actually.
But yeah, there wasn't that major difference in sound between Talladega and Southern, and I really have to, as a certified, hater of Talladega myself, I have to give props to that band for them really. I mean, they've only been around, honestly, 3 years, and to come to the level that they are right now where they can hang with Southern in a battle, how many band programs have been around for 30, 40, 50 years and don't have the numbers that Talladega has and doesn't have, and can't play their music like that? And their arrangements, the reason I say I'm a certified hater of Talladega is because in the last year or so, their arrangements were so middle school. I mean, they were middle school arrangements played up an octave, But I can't say that with them now. Some of the stuff they play is pretty, it's pretty challenging. And there were some things that they played against Southern with some nice mellophone runs. And Southern didn't take the bait on that. They didn't try to, throw something hard like they did at Jackson State on them. So I thought it was cool. But anyway, Southern started. Talladega started with one blood, and that was cool. Of course, there was one trumpet player that screwed up and, messed it up for everybody. A lot of times when Talladega was following Southern, it didn't work out so well. Like when Southern played Let It Burn, their version of Let It Burn just didn't work out. Go ahead.
When they played that Burn This Disco Out, I was like, fail. Epic fail. I was not feeling that. Like, sorry. Go ahead, Rashad.
I hear echo. Does somebody have the broadcast on? I heard an echo after Christy's voice.
Not me.
Not
me. Okay. All right. Cool.
Let me see here. But overall, I did think that Southern edged them out. I thought both bands had problems with tempo. I think it was in particular, Southern's arrangement of the Hills. They started at one tempo and then they slowed down. And then they sped it back up again. I'm like, what's happening here? And I noticed, one thing I liked about Talladega is that they had multiple directors, and they were all watching the main director, which I think helps. Versus Southern only had one director, and in particular with the Hills, you can see that that's the problem. And I don't know why the directors weren't up on their ladders. Like, they should have been up on ladders so that if you're going to have one director, you need to be up on the ladder because there's no way that the whole band can see you. Same other problem on the same type of issue is Talladega cymbal players were way off to the, looking at the band on the right of the band, not looking at the director at all. Okay, if you play cymbals, like more so than most other people in the band, you need to have an eye right on the director because you can change the tempo of the band by yourself. So Talladega, have your cymbals turn around and look at your directors, okay? All right. But overall, again, I'll say that Southern edged them. Well, no, it wasn't an edge. I would say that they had the victory. But, Talladega a year or two from now, they're really going to be one of those bands that's maybe possibly in the top 5, at least as far as stand stuff is concerned.
All right. And, of course, our last Well, no, it's not really last because I know we saw a couple. What did you think about the Boombox Classic the following day on that Saturday?
Joe, what's happening? Joe, I know you got the inside scoop, man. What's happening with Jackson?
That's
what's
kind
up
of
with
in
those
my notes.
halftime shows?
That's in my notes. Not to give away what I was gonna say, but yeah, I was gonna ask you since I thought it was like a musical issue or something. I don't know.
I mean, this is 2 weeks in a row. Where they have Southern Jackson has just cut themselves. I mean, they just went on the field and died. What happened there? I mean, it's like the marching is great. I thought their drill was done very, very well.
Yeah.
But then it was so slow, and the song they were playing, it just, I don't know, it just wasn't what I was used to from Jackson. And it just, and then, they came out there and they made the, the GoFund SU, and, it may not have been the best place to make that with the height of the stadium of Southern Stadium, because you really couldn't see it that well. I know most people in that stadium probably couldn't see it, and it wasn't until when I was watching on Periscope and somebody said what it was. I was like, oh, that's what that was. I'm like, what are they doing? I really don't know how I feel about it. To some extent, we've had our jabs. I mean, Christy, your boy The Voice has had some pretty nice jabs at us in Hampton when we played each other. So some of that, it kind of comes with the territory, but still, I don't know, kind of maybe seemed just a little bit below the belt-ish. But then they didn't dance. It's like, okay, all right, you got our attention. You've talked some serious trash now. All right, let's see what you're going to do.
And
I know what we're going to do. We're going to walk off the field.
I was like, what in the world?
Yeah. So
get your boys, Joe. Get your boys.
Yeah,
I know.
Southern didn't even have to perform after that. Honestly, Jackson, they just 2 weeks in a row they just cut themselves. I don't know. I like Jackson State. I think their band sounds good. I think they march well. I think they've seem to have a lot of discipline. And plus with the recruiting that they have, and I just don't know what they're doing with what they have. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know how that show got off the cutting room floor.
Right.
Southern show was executed very well. I can say I wasn't particularly impressed with Southern show, but I would say it was a very good show. Don't get me wrong. But I would say that was the type of show that you play against Alcorn. That was the type of show that you play against, Mississippi Valley State or UAPB. A band. They're decent, but they're not our rival. But to say this is the only band that's really, really challenging us right now to be number one in the SWAC, like, that wasn't the show. They made some lines. The lines were straight. They were real straight. But that's it. Okay, get straight lines. And then, they did the shout-out to the guy, that passed away, and that was cool. But I just kind of really, if you compare that show to what they just did in the Honda, where they made the stop, and then they made, the outline of the S, and they did all these kinds of stuff, and they're getting people to propose to each other. I mean, everything. It was a real. It just wasn't on the same level. But obviously, Southern did a great job with their show, dance routine, everything was great. We're tired of the fat people. We're tired of the fat people. Crowd's not tired of the fat people, but we're tired of come on, bring somebody else out there. Bring a really short person out there and let them dance. Something. So victory in the halftime show clearly goes to Southern. Now, the fifth quarter. Oh, is it time for the thing?
No, I mean, it just hurts. I mean, it's reality. That's all. I'll just, Yeah, we got a couple minutes
before.
before.
Dagger in your heart, poor thing.
Had another birthday over there.
Man, yeah, I just don't like losing to them, man. Damn, Yeah, but please go ahead, please, yes.
Okay, the fifth quarter. Wow, that was an immense battle. It's like, okay, after watching, South Carolina State and FAMU, I was like, man, that was a really, really musical battle. Like, they played some really complex stuff over there. And then watching, South Carolina State and Talladega, it's like, well, we've got, all the spectrums here. We can be really musical, or we can just be really loud and cranky. But with the battle between Jackson and Southern, it's like, oh man, like we can play some really tough stuff and be loud, and that was exciting to me. Some of the things that these guys played, it's like, oh my God, like that was tough. I don't have a clue what that was, but it was awesome. I find myself singing Jackson's first song. They whoa. I don't know what it was. I know I've heard that song.
Brown song.
Oh.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, I've heard that like a couple songs. So, but I did hear Foxy Brown on the on Periscope. Someone chatted and said it was something from Foxy Brown.
Oh, okay. Well, that was a cool song. But Southern's intro, it's like, no, we're not starting with that. We're going to start with this. And that Welcome to the Jungle, that dude arranged the snot out of that.
Yeah, I got to go. I'm going to probably go play that. I'll probably go play that after I do this. That don't crank.
Yeah, particularly the trumpets.
Yeah.
Boy.
I think it's about like the original song. I really like the Guns N' Roses song. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you all know Lean on Me and Terminator 2 got us all into heavy metal. Just a little bit.
Yeah, but it's hard to do that every time. That's why I see someone else do that job in radio. But yeah, please go ahead.
But my thing with that is I hope that it's not one of those one-hit wonders that Southern has, that they play it one time and just, they practice it forever and they don't play it again. Because it wasn't perfect. It was not a perfect performance of it. There's a lot of things that were just kind of lacking a little bit, but I think that they will perfect it. It just wasn't perfect. Like the intro, like that first intro, every time I hear the intro with the baritones coming in by themselves, I'm like, what happened? They're a little out of tune on that. It just wasn't solid. Maybe the trombones are on it as well. Maybe that would solidify the pitch on that. It just was kind of weird. And Southern had that problem a couple times in some of the things that they played. Their intros a lot of times were kind of, it was kind of a little off. Mellophone might come in. They were strong, but they were just maybe a little bit off here and there. But as far as which band was better, it depends on who you ask, honestly, because, what are you comparing? Which band has a trumpet player that hangs over at the end playing a really high note? Both of them do. Which band has really loud baritone players? Both of them do. Which band has trombones, and when they play the melodies, they go, wah, 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 wah. Both of them do. Which band has tuba breaks? Both of them do. Which of them have played some really cool songs with a lot of fast runs like Jupiter? Both of them do. So it was funny because when I watched it on the Periscope, everybody that was watching the Periscope I was watching said, oh, Jackson State, there's no doubt about it. But then when you go to the fifth, everybody in the fifth is like, oh, well, that's Southern, no doubt about that, Jackson underwhelming. Let me tell you one of the main things that made the difference, particularly with the Periscope. It depends on where you're standing.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll take that back to the video from South Carolina, from Southern versus Talladega. If Garrett's video is up from high, and so you're like, oh, man, both of these bands, like, wow. Like, okay, some of the things here and there, but, guys, I don't know how they play like that and still sound good. But then Bantu's video, I think, is, like, right there in front of the bands. And so what you don't hear from a distance is the fact that the trumpets, they can't hear themselves at all. You can tell. Wow. Up close, they can't hear themselves. And so at the end of every song, you just hear, there's an E natural right there, there's a G right there, there's an F right there, there's an A right there, because the trumpets, they don't have a clue what they're playing. They're just trying to hit a note, but they can't. You're right. The baritones, the rest of the brass section is so loud in their ears, they don't have a clue what note they're hitting. And so up close, you can hear that stuff. Well, with the Periscope that we were watching, they were closer to Southern than Jackson. And so you could very easily hear all the little mistakes that Southern was making versus the mistakes that Jackson was making. You couldn't hear it as clearly. I still think Jackson made just a handful less mistakes than Southern did, other than that one tuba player that kept playing. And and that's a fault of the staff, honestly, because you get all the tubas on one side facing away from the director. I mean, that was bound to happen. They should have been on the other side, so as they're looking, they can see the director. And also they probably could, with all 4 or 5 drum majors that they had, they just walked off. I don't know where they went. They should have been doing what they normally do, which is to go into the stands and direct, and therefore that wouldn't have been a problem. So, but there you have it there. But again, I would give the edge to Jackson just slightly. I know some people are like, oh, my God, it was clearly a Southern victory, and the Jackson State people are saying the same thing if I said it obviously differently. I just want to say it was a great battle between the two bands. I was very impressed, particularly with the fast songs that they played, Jupiter and things. The last thing I'll say on that, as far as balance is concerned, I have heard a lot of people say, this year and last year that Jackson State's trumpets are really not up to par. And, Joe, in your defense, as a Jackson State trumpet player, I will say this. Here's what's happening. Think about this for a second, everybody. Do you think that, most of these trumpet players that are coming in the Jackson's band, probably most of them are coming from show-style bands, and probably most of these bands pattern themselves after, Jackson and Southern and all these other, bands. So they're probably loud players already. And a good portion of them are scholarship players, So you get people that are not only loud but are good. So you mean to tell me that you have 40 trumpet players that are pretty loud and pretty good, and when they get to Jackson State they can't play? Nope. That's not what's happening at all. I counted roughly about 30-something trombones. And I counted roughly about 20-something mellophones. I only counted roughly about 40 trumpets. Math doesn't add up. 40 trumpets cannot balance 20 mellophones. It cannot
75.
balance 30-something trombones.
I'm trying to tell people the funk needs about 75. But it does hurt because Periscope was killing the funk. I mean, damn.
Well, the other thing they also need to look into is, taking a tip from A&T, and this is something I've done as a director myself. You need to think about using flugelhorns. If you take a third of your trumpet section and switch them over to flugelhorns, you will not have that same type of balance problem. Because a flugelhorn is to a trumpet what a baritone is to a trombone. It's going to give you a nice, open, rich, powerful sound.
Wow.
And if you switch all your third trumpets to that, number one, it'll bring out the sound of those trumpets. And number two, when you have them along with the mellophones, it will allow the mellophones to stay in tune a little bit better. And you can hear that. If you listen to A&T, you will hear that. You don't hear A&T's trumpets being swallowed up, even though their baritone section is very powerful. And you don't hear A&T's mellophones going really out of tune all the time. That was the issue in the past, but now you don't hear that. And a lot of that is because you've got those flugelhorns that tend to stay in pitch a lot better than a horn. And you put them on top of the mellophones, and bam, problem solved. So this is something that pretty much every band needs to think about, I think.
That's huge. That's huge. I just figured, I said 75. Just go recruit more people, but I had no idea you could do that. I know you heard the music come on, but is there anything else from the weekend, Rashad?
I did see a couple of things. I saw a little bit of Miles. I saw a little bit of Elizabeth City State versus Virginia Union, so maybe when we come back, I don't have a lot to say about that.
We can say it after the break, though. That's cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get the break. I'll mute the microphones. We'll go ahead and listen to the rest of Rashad's week after we come back from the break. And then I'll say what I saw this past week myself. And then we'll leave it open to you. We'll take another break, and then we'll leave it open to you. You guys can call in on the next break whenever you want. We'll get to the calls. We'll talk, maybe get into the last segment about what Christy was talking about, the hashtag struggle bands or any other news that's out there. I know I'd like to talk about Periscope and all the chats. But we'll listen to our beloved sponsors here on this next break, the 90 Degree Show, Week 3. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back.
Hello, this is Duncan C. Gray, Director of Bands at West Charlotte High School.
and proud graduate of Winston-Salem State University. You are listening to the 90 Degree Show here on the Marching Podcast Network.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from pro bass to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge One Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Need to write music and drill? Get it on the field. Outfit your band. Keep your administrator happy and still have a life. Encountering drama in the process, ain't nobody got time for that. Let block band music assist you with musical arrangements and drills to fit your band, and also the equipment, gear, and accessories to keep the visuals, music, and marching on point. Contact blockbandmusic@gmail.com and see how this worldwide minority-owned business can uplift your band.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
This is Joshua Cousin, representing Ocean of Soul, and you're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
We're back for our second break, our second block here, bringing you back with the Marching 100 for the A&M, playing a march. They threw hella marches at South Carolina State. I enjoyed it. I love marches, as you guys know. 718-664-6025. You're welcome to call in as I unmute the microphones of our panelists to call in and talk about your week, what you saw, likes, dislikes, yada, yada, yada. But yes, definitely, and piggybacking on what Rashad was saying, I really enjoy the Florida A&M South Carolina State battle. I really like both schools, but I always like when they go against each other. It's like because they're the same, you know, them and Bethune. It's like the three of them kind of like similar, so I always like it when, you know, they're always against each other. Rashad, I'll turn fam off here and push it back to you. So, in continuation of what you saw this past week.
I feel like I saw a couple things. I saw Miles College do like one song because, you know, Chris, you know, like the Periscope was just, you know, it's like time to make it a donut. I mean, you and I are old enough to remember that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sitting in the room and my phone is almost dead, so I got it across the room charging up. You know, I'm trying to do my work. And next thing I know, you know, it is, you know. You know, so I heard one song. I think they sounded pretty decent. And God, who was it that played? Was it? I heard the Ocean of Soul, but I only heard like a little bit of that in the stands. So I really can't even really comment on that. And one thing I'm starting to learn, Chris, it seems like not only is the Periscope based off of our personal cell phones, but it seems to be based even more so off the cell phone of the person that's broadcasting.
Right.
Because what I notice is, like, when I'm out, I see a lot of people posting, like, it keeps freezing. It keeps, you know, what's going on? Or people say, man, there's Wi-Fi in that part of the, you know, thing. Versus when I watch some other battles, it'll, like, play pretty much all the way through. So
Yeah, it depends on your provider too. You know, I feel like there are a lot of factors that affect Periscope. But my boy Red Clay was saying something a little earlier that, like, you know, Periscope, being a bandhead, if you're going to stream it for people, then you need to not have your phone at point-blank range, especially for a band like Southern and Talladega. Because,
I mean, for
you know,
the worst band, Southern and Talladega. Yes, please, Christy.
Okay.
That was the like extreme example of not to do with those two bands.
Yeah, because, you know, our phones don't have noise canceling capabilities. So it just kind of sounded like splat.
Man.
You know? So, I noticed when I watched the actual YouTube clips, like the ones that, what is it, The Edge, like the ones that he's done, you know, it was much better because, you know, you actually had a device that had those noise canceling capabilities. It wasn't just your average iPhone out there. So it makes a difference. But, you know, I'm sure these are just kinks that'll be worked out, right, you know, as the software progresses and more people use it. And so, yeah.
So, Rashad, was that anything else went on from your week?
I did see, so there was a band competition yesterday in Greenville, Emporia, Virginia. And for those of you who know that area, and you also know me, I dislike Emporia heavily.
Oh, yeah, so you got tickets.
Yeah, oh, yes. I think everybody has had a ticket in Emporia.
Rap Central.
Yes, sir. I've gotten a speeding ticket on the way to paying a speeding ticket.
Mm-hmm. I believe it.
So, yeah. So outside of that, though, Greenville, that wasn't even funny.
Yes, sir.
But you know, Greenville High School is, of course, the home to one of the best performing high schools in the two-state area of North Carolina and Virginia. Greenville tends to win everything, and you know, so they had a band competition there, and at the end of it, Virginia Union and Elizabeth City State performed back and forth. It was pretty cool. My only thing, and I noticed some people said this on Periscope, I would have liked for the bands to refrain from playing like Talking Outside of Your Neck or Skin I'm In, or, you know, particularly Neck. Neck, to me, it's just banned for fifth quarter battles. Skin I'm In is okay, but like Skin I'm In should be like the last song that you play, like the traditional Howard A&T Skin. You know, that's the last song you play. When you play this, that's it. Battle's over. We're going home. Other than that, just don't even mess with it. And Neck should just be not played at all during the fifth. It's
okay,
just that
Hampton graduate. Okay, I hear you. Not playing Neck with y'all 12-inch version, you know,
right,
symphonic movements.
That's right. That's how we play it during the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Not during the fifth. You know?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think they did play it against A&T last year.
See?
During the fifth. But it was a recruitment thing. That didn't count. It was homecoming.
Right.
But anyway, so I didn't like that so much. But, you know, Elizabeth City kind of all of a sudden, like at the last half of the thing, kind of like stepped it up. Like they transformed into a different band all of a sudden. It was kind of amazing. It was something that they played. It wasn't like Tiger of San Pedro, but it was something Latin that they played. And it was like the balance of the band and the technique of the band all of a sudden stepped up a notch. Mm. And then even there was another song they played after that had a lot of trombone solo in it, and or soli. And you know, one of my biggest complaints about them at the Charlotte, the Queen City Battle of the Bands, the trombones were really out of tune during that. But they were on it. Like, I have to say, like, wow, trombones, like, y'all really got it together and really worked it out. So I would give the victory to Elizabeth City State there because I feel like they kind of stepped away for a second. But just like you said, Christy, I am very proud of Virginia Union to see they are so much bigger than they were last year. I'm excited to hear what they're going to do. I would like from Virginia Union to see some of the Virginia Union last year was doing a lot of things that no other small band was doing, which is, like I said last week, play your part. Don't try to impress people with your power. Just play your part, and you'll get bigger over time. And I noticed that is kind of that is not there as much. And so I hope they will continue to do that, to just be as tight as they possibly can, and don't worry about the balance issues and things like that. Don't worry about the size, because that stuff comes over time. But just play as well as you can. Also, shout out to Virginia Union for being a customer of Block Band as far as our spats and shoes and gloves is concerned. So all you universities, y'all can come to Block Band and get your stuff there too.
Shameless plug.
Shameless. Hey, people don't know that you got it. They won't know you got it.
Yeah.
That's cool, Rashad. That's cool, man. So, anything else from the week? About to say, you boys, got so much footage nowadays. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't keep up. My phone be blowing up on a Saturday. Be blowing up.
Yeah, for real.
I can't get nothing done. I swear, man. I'm like, oh my God.
I know, because it's like, you just be going about your business, and then you get. I can't whistle. Oh, I hadn't seen this band yet. And then, there you go, 2-3 hours down the line. There you go.
Particularly
go ahead, Rashad.
The Jackson Southern one was really bad because it's like, okay, halftime's coming soon. Halftime's coming. And you hear the whistle. Oh, is it halftime? No, it's just somebody playing. And then 30 seconds into it, you're reconnecting. Oh, man, okay. And then here's the whistle again. Is it halftime? Is it fifth quarter? No, that's USPB's doing something. Oh, okay. Let me check them out real quick. It's kind of like the Twilight Zone. It's like something that you really, really want, but it's so good and it happens so often that you really don't want it. It's like torture.
Well, I try not to share every little whistle that I get, because when I share, trust me, I've gotten like 3 other whistles. So it's like I have to choose, okay, am I going to share this one? Because I can't not share it. I mean, come on. I just can't not share it. So I have to choose, I choose, like, does this person have trustworthy camera? Like, So I just have to discern which ones to share.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, is there anything else, Rashad? I want to make sure that you get everything in there.
No, man, I just want to see what you have to say about Southern's formation on the field towards the end of the show.
Well, see, I didn't want to go there because I wanted to make sure it wasn't nothing like about that. Okay, this might sound wrong, but I just wanted to make sure it didn't have anything about church. But yeah, it was a dude that died, so I was like, okay, that's probably cool. Like, I said, you can't go there if somebody put somebody's name on there, somebody died. But yeah, I was just trying to make sure it wasn't no like gospel plug, because then I would have been like, I would have been like, yes, they lost. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. But no, that was not the case. But Periscope is the bomb. The comments was the greatest part of the week. The highlight of my weekend was the Virginia Union Elizabeth City battle. I remember when I was at Smith, that was the last game that I marched in a Smith uniform, and I remember, and this was '96. I remember they were rebuilding back then, and it was about like 14 of them. And I was just like, wow. So to even see they were bigger, but to hear that they've been continuing to struggle since '96, I was like, man, that hurts. But at least to see that they were like the same size as Elizabeth City and going back and forth, I was happy to see that. The highlight, though, was the twirler dude in front of Virginia Union's band.
Yeah,
and then, of course, the comments someone said him needs to go, and then it was the whole Bernie Mac him downstairs thing, and then people just started hitting that joke for like the next 5 minutes. So I really enjoyed that, and he was tight. I mean, for his job, he would get crunk out there. Y'all saw him. So I was happy to see him. It made me smile. But the only thing I totally agree with Rashad. Virginia Union was playing like pep band tunes or like Get Crunk basketball, Get Crunk football, stand tunes, and they weren't really playing any music. A lot of stuff that was like repetition. And then it was like a break, kind of like almost being in Vegas, where it was just like it's the same like that party like techno music, and then like at the certain beats, the beat drop and all of that. But yeah, I just really enjoy seeing Elizabeth City. I know we've been talking about them over the last couple
was both
years.
bands now. Let me throw that out. I was saying that about both bands. I don't want to put VU on the spot now. I still want to sell fat. True.
But Elizabeth City, they like you said, they played a little bit more variety. They were almost about to lose it because the first song they were playing, they were like singing way too much. And that irks me too. I do not like all the choir stuff. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's Bethune-Cookman, boy. They will sing you out of town, buddy.
Yeah, I hate that. And then like when they go in the different voices, that part's like, oh, okay, that sounds good. But no, cut it off and crank. I don't want to hear all that. So yeah, but they came back in the end, so that was great. Boombox Fifth. Again, it was great with Periscope. Shout out to, I was watching Pranks, TAW.
Prankstar.
Yeah,
Prankstar.
Prankstar. Is this a light-skinned young lady? Is that who that is? I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to figure out who it was. I think that's her.
I don't know I don't know what she looks like, but she was.
Oh, okay.
Her footage was good too.
She was good. I think she did the Battle of the Bands the previous night before as well. People were telling her to stand on one leg and bark like a dog. I thought that was great. Also, some dude was trying to holler at her during the footage. So I thought that was the bomb too. Dude was like, oh yeah, was you at the Battle of the Bands? Oh, I was performing out there. So I was like, okay.
Lord,
and then, they was like, stop trying to holler, So Periscope, definitely thumbs up. I am definitely feeling we are getting the, at the moments there at the game that you could laugh. And I love seeing, like, when I see Christy log in or Rashad or Robert, anybody log in, because then I know it's like we all watching it together at the same time, so that's pretty cool. But the Boombox Fifth, I totally agree. I don't like having Talladega the night before with Southern. I definitely felt they were distracted. I felt they played two really good songs, the Jill Scott joint and then the Joe Clark song. I was excited about those, but I felt like they were playing songs to show people that they had songs for Talladega and for Jackson State. And it wasn't that same boogeyman Southern confidence that I really see until, like, the end when, like, Jackson State was packing up, they played the Floyd Mayweather song. I don't know the name of the song, but it's like a Southern song that they played when Floyd Mayweather came out.
Nobody does better, right?
You always play it. People were saying they were tired of that song. I like that song. But it wasn't the same attitude from Southern until the end. So I gave it, of course, a little bit to the Boom. Halftime, I kind of don't even want to talk about because so please school me. The whole fun, is Southern really losing money, or is this like some type of joke that's catching on the social media? Like, what's going on with that?
You know how they have GoFundMe, and everybody has a GoFundMe account. I need to go get a pedicure. Let me set up a GoFundMe account for that. But
okay.
So I think it was one of those things that's kind of like GoFund SU.
Well,
that was tacky. That was uber tacky. Your boys did not do right.
The whole state of Louisiana has really been talking about that quite a bit. Bobby, what's his name? Bobby Jindal?
Yeah, your boy Bobby Jindal.
Your boy Bobby.
Okay.
he's been talking about that. They've been talking about that for a while, like slashing everybody's, budgets, and like how if they're gonna slash LSU's budget, what do you think that's gonna do to Southern? I know for a fact that Southern only has school 4 days a week, that they don't have school on Friday because of budget cuts. And we all know that, Mr. Hamer was, talking about, getting some money and things coming in. So I think it's great that he's raising money, and asking for money. I think more of us need to have requests for money and not necessarily be dependent on our universities to get it. But I think that they are in need of funds,
Damn.
Maybe if they had more money, they would get fully metal tubers.
Wow, man, I didn't know.
Now that's a patum instead of the half plastic, half metal fiberboard tubers that they have that don't help them at all.
Wow, I didn't know that. So I've seen on the web and on the internet like GoFundMe or Southern, but I didn't really think that was serious. But I kind of hate to hear that. And definitely that does, since knowing that does be like, oh, Jackson State, like, oh. That definitely sounds like that was a young person's decision. That was maybe someone in the band, maybe young, and that slipped by the directors somehow. So definitely, of course, it comes back on the head coach or the director. But that kind of led into there's something going on there that I don't know, but something ain't right. Like, with the Boom, the last 2 weeks, it's just the attitude. It's something about, what's going on. I don't know. I think the director there is new, so maybe he's establishing himself or whatever. But there's definitely something going on to do that.
Well, let me ask, who is the director? Because
I think
during the slow song, Dr. Sanford got up there, and I heard them say, "Someone's director of bands, Jackson State, and a Jackson State alum and director of bands at Jackson State, Dr. O'Neill Sanford." But I don't know if he was saying assistant band or interim band director, because I know he's the department chair, if I'm not mistaken. But I didn't know he was. I thought he was like on staff or something.
Yeah, you make an interesting point. I think I did see a post from someone saying that he was a band director. I thought it was Little, but yeah, that's something new. And then that explains, I think, like Christy was talking about last week when they played Tiger of San Pedro at Tennessee State last week. Maybe that has something to do with it too.
Oh, and of course the whole who can I run to debacle.
Yeah. So yes, something's going on. Hopefully, they'll get it worked out. But yeah, that surprised me. Now you guys broke it all down to me. When I say GoFundMe, I was like, well. Then I've seen some people say, that wasn't cool, like blah blah blah. So I was like, is Southern really like, that might not have been funny. You know what I'm saying? So whoops. So like, dang. But yeah, the halftime show, I was really glad with our drill. I always loved the drill. Southern did that L thing. I'm not really, but yeah. But I guess they had a little bit more oomph, a little bit more excitement. But really, really did like them imitating Rock the House. That's like my favorite thing in the world is Rock the House. Especially on the last part when you do the U and you get to make your arms real big, make sure your mouthpiece and all that stuff in, make sure you don't get too excited. But I love that part, but I wish they would have gone all the way through with it and like made fun of us all the way to the end. I don't like the who part. That's kind of like a screeching halt type of thing. That's not like funny as what I thought it was going to be.
But you digress.
But I did like that. Right quick. FAM, SC State 5th. Love marches. Love FAM. Played a good bit of them. So I felt that they won that. Played a wide range of music. And like Christy said last week, people might be sleeping on them. But yes, they sound good. They look good. I think South Carolina State sounds good too. Got a spot in my heart for South Carolina State. But definitely, like you said, Rashad, they opened up to like what I knew or what I was expecting when they played, I think, Pretty Brown Eyes, like which is like one of my favorite songs that they play. But they didn't have that same confidence trying to follow FAM and the marches. Like FAM totally dictated that fifth. They were like, play this, play this, play this. And NC State didn't have nothing to throw back. Like, no, you need to play this. Like, they just was responding the whole time, and not as confident, of course. So I gave that to fam. I didn't see a halftime there. But yeah, that was pretty much it. But yeah, the highlight was the twirler and the comments. Shout out to all the band heads in the comments, man. They're like really, really funny, and I really enjoy them. So I definitely think that's another part to Periscope that's really gonna make things cool for us. So anything wrapping up, you guys want to say anything before we go into the last break? Again, we'll open it up for the callers. We'll leave the last break, last section open. If any news of the day, maybe we'll get into Christy's blog. But anything that you wanted to wrap up here in this second segment, Chris?
No, I'm good. I think I've said all I need to say.
Okay, what about you, Rashad?
Speaking of comments, like you were saying, Joe, let's comment on FAMU's drum major. I know you guys saw that. Like, it was the next to the last song that FAMU played. All of a sudden, one of their drum majors just started wilding out and just started stepping. And, like, the band director kind of looked over there, and I'm like, what's going on? Because, like, the whole rest of the band is kind of playing, and they're, like, looking at him, and I'm like, okay, so does everybody in KK5, can they just step right now? It was like right in the middle of a mix that they were playing, and all of a sudden the drum major just started stepping.
That's some Tuskegee stuff.
That's some what?
Tuskegee does that. Well, they did. They did. I don't know now that the John's band director, but yeah, they were famous for doing that.
So is John the head band director there now?
Yeah, he is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shout out to him, man. I remember I actually did a chopping it up with him, and I remember he was like, man, I'm trying to get back into the teaching field because he was just playing for hire. He was just a musician for hire. So now the brother is the head band director. So shout out to him. That's really cool. That's some good news. So let's go ahead and go to the last sponsors here. And again, you guys are welcome to call in. To say what you guys need to say here. I've got to get it all. Like, you're doing three things at once. But yeah, we'll go to the commercial break here. The 90 Degree Show. Thanks for listening, everyone.
This is Gregory Drain, Director of Athletic Bands at Penn State University, former marching Wildcat at Bethune-Cookman University. And you're listening to the 90 Degree Show on the Marching Podcast Network.
From photo shoots to graduation pictures, from probates to band footage, from pageants to yard shows, there's only one team you can count on, the Edge1 Productions. Visit theedge1.com and trust me, you won't be disappointed.
Band directors, have you ever found yourselves in this situation? Showtime is quickly approaching. Your budget is quickly disappearing. Your music choices are narrowing. The equipment condition is wearing and your stress level is mounting. Stop what you're doing and contact Block Band Music and find out how we've got you. Check www.blockbandmusic.com, providing music, equipment, gear, and accessories to show style, core style, and traditional bands worldwide.
What if there was a Facebook for bands? Wait a minute, there is. Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org is a social network for HBCU show bands. You can create your own profile and post videos, photos, and comments on Bandhead.org. Need somewhere to post events, audition schedules, job postings? Check out Bandhead.org. Are you recruiting for talent? Go to Bandhead.org. Bandhead.org, a social network for bands.
Hey, this is Kitty, and you're listening to the Marching Podcast. Hi, this is Nessa. You're listening to the Marching Podcast.
Welcome back as the S brings us back with a song that I really like. See, that was the attitude that I was looking for the whole time, but I definitely felt that the S was, they were like marathoning themselves. They were making sure they didn't go all the way out here, making sure they didn't go all the way out there, but still enjoyed that piece that they played. That was really exciting. 718-664-6025. You're welcome to call in. We're in our last break. Open talk, word on the street, if you will. I know that Ashley was talking about that last week as far as hashtag struggle bands. I actually caught myself slipping as I was looking back over the tweets as far as getting ready for the show. I did see Morehouse and Johnson C. Smith.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that halftime show. Yes. So, Johnson C. Smith, I used to go to Johnson C. Smith. I have mad love for Johnson C. Smith, but even with the new director, it seems like they're still doing the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that we talked about support within administration. I remember there was big drama between Dr. Yancey and Mr. Gray. Just remember a lot of that stuff. And then now, the guy that's there, the president, Morehouse graduate, funny enough, was there when my mother was there. Well, not at Morehouse, but my mom's was at Spelman, of course, back in the day. And she says that based on how it was and from the clique that you was in, if you was from North Carolina, you basically knew who was from North Carolina at Spelman. Like, you basically knew the folks and where they was, who they was. And she said this dude didn't know who this guy was. So now I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but the brother's much more conservative, if you will. That may have direct implications on the band, but wow, they're still doing the band dance. And like, wow. And back when I was there, you didn't have nobody else saying OS. Like, if you threw out double I, you was ready to hurt someone if someone outside the band said OS. Now the whole crowd say double I OS. So it's just like off the chain. Stuff is different. Wow, we actually have a caller here from the 704 area code. Someone from Charlotte, maybe. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from tonight?
I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is Natalie Kennedy Beard, proud graduate of Spelman College.
I was just talking about you. What's going on? Thanks for calling in and listening this evening.
I was just commenting. I wanted to comment initially on how wonderful it is for those of us old heads, as you all refer to us now, that young ladies are referring to the things that they just look that are just in poor taste about putting like fun this person or something like that. In our days, we would clearly say that Jeff was just in poor taste for that, and it does not reflect the dignity of the institution and the kinds of mission that you're trying to carry out. So I thought it was a wonderful reflection that you have that kind of perspective now that catches those kind of focus eye and how that really works through it that way. But then as you started to mention about the times at Morehouse and Spelman at the great AU Center there, it is important to note that the focus of attention still is on what is important about the institutions and their drive, and supporting band programs and the music programs was clearly important to all of the presidents, but this president, maybe Dr. Carter, did not have that, because Morehouse never was known for any big teams or anything like that. But I think the year I was there, my freshman year, was the first time they had won a game in some, like 20 years or something like that, and it was a big excitement for everybody for that. But the band program, music program, or something like that is still always supported. So when you don't have leadership that is supportive of these kind of initiatives, it does reflect on the entire institution and the kinds of support that people get from the different programs that look for that.
I definitely agree with you. I know that Morehouse, I guess, is definitely to piggyback on what you last just said. Morehouse they're on the come up. I can't remember the guy. I know his first name is Chad, but
Hughes.
the brother's from Detroit. Yeah, Chad Hughes. He's doing a good job there. So of course, I mean, we're not letting the cat out the bag here. Morehouse was better. I guess I would give them the W. But I do want to give the listeners and Christy and Rashad a little background information about my mom. Just throwing it out there, when she refers to Jackson State, it's not Jackson State, it's Jive Time Jackson State. So just painting a little picture of my mom. So, of course, she was definitely excited that I have a strong woman on the broadcast, and then pointing out something that Jive Time Jackson State was doing. So, yes, I had a feeling that was coming. But, yes, it was Jive Time-ish, if you will. But, wow, like I say, it was probably someone in the band that decided to do that. You know what I mean? I guess it got by the director. That's kind of interesting.
As we all know, everyone reflects their institution. So, if you want to put it on the band person or if you want to put it on whatever, it's still reflective of the institution. That's all we're just saying,
Okay.
She's going in on you, Joe. She is going in. I love it.
I know. She really, I remember she wasn't thrilled about the decision to transfer, but I told her, it was really a band thing, and, she still wasn't happy about it. But still, I'm glad that she called. I'm glad you was listening. I know that she's happy about our new format. I am too. But thanks a lot. Did you have anything else that you wanted to throw in there about week 3, Ma?
Well, did you want to tell us about Joe?
No.
No, I also wanted to add how proud I was about how the different, I've noticed the level of rigor that each of you now bring to the conversation about the different performances, to articulate the distinctions in the musicianship, but also in the manner in which you explain exactly what you mean by that, because band heads, everyone may not understand all of that, but it does make the conversation far more engaging and enlightening when you have persons that add a rigor to the intellectual exchange that makes a little better difference with us that way. So I did want to say how proud I was with each of you, and each of you bring in and Rashad, of course, always gives a perspective that is always important about the technique and the articulation and the actual attack of it. But it is helpful when all of the conversation does have an intellectual rigor that is reflective of the products of HBCUs and how proud we are all of those in making those kind of selections of choices of schools to attend.
Yes,
I definitely agree with
bring in the applause.
Yes. And that's definitely the purpose of the network. We want to show the world how intelligent that we are and how we love our craft, but definitely through music and education. So definitely you've raised me in that light, Mom, so I want to appreciate that to you. Of course, that good Spelman education. Yes, I've learned well. And yes, Jive Time Jackson State. Yes, Ma. Thanks a lot, Ma.
Where's the applause?
Foundational experiences that everyone is responsible for, so everyone just sticks to that. And when we get a chance off the record sometime, you all call me and I'll give you all the other updates on Joseph that it would be important.
Oh, I may be calling you very soon.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep a lot of that out there, Ma. Yeah, because I'm trying to treat like. But yeah, I appreciate that, Ma.
It has, but I did want to let you go. Thank you so much. We continue to enjoy the broadcast.
Thank you for your compliment, Joe's mom.
Yes, 718-664-6025. I knew that she had heard about it, or the word had got to the Jackson State said something about some money or something. So I was just like, she called in.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I want to just bring up the fact, I don't know if you knew about this, but 2 Bethune-Cookman students were actually killed a couple of days ago, and I think that both of them marched for Bethune-Cookman. Were you aware of that?
Oh, no, I didn't know anything
No,
about
okay. So apparently there was a shooting. There were the two girls, the 2 young ladies were roommates, and they had a third roommate who was a man who was dating one of the two women. Apparently the 2 women wanted him to leave, and so it was some kind of rent thing, like they wanted him to move out because it just wasn't working out between the 3 of them as roommates, and there was some kind of dispute going on with that, and they even tried to give him back his first month's rent, but he didn't take that too well, and long story short, he came in and unfortunately shot both of the ladies at point blank range.
Wow.
The ladies' names were Tamisha Carswell, who was 21, and Deanna McDonald, who was 19, and Deanna just happened to be one of my fraternity sisters. She was a member of Sigma Alpha Iota International Music Fraternity, which I'm a member of, and which is like an unofficial sister organization to Rashad's fraternity, which is Phi Mu Alpha Symphonia. And so, I just wanted to alert the band world to that. I mean, it's such an unfortunate situation. And then just on Saturday, I believe, the man who was accused of killing those 2 students, actually, he was found, he was arrested, and then he hung himself in jail.
Wow.
And so, I would just like to say I hope that all the parties involved, their families and their loved ones, and especially the Theta Xi chapter of SAI at Bethune-Cookman, I hope they find some comfort and some peace in this situation. And I send out nothing but love to the families of these 2 young ladies, and even the family of the man who was accused of the crime. And, it's just such an unfortunate situation, but I wanted to just let that be known in case you weren't aware of it.
Well, I appreciate that, Christy. Yeah, I had no idea. And, wow, that's and the main thing I heard, like you said, 19 and 21.
Right.
You really think that when you're younger that's old, but those are babies. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So definitely thoughts and prayers to their family. That's really, really sad. Was it there in the Daytona Beach? They live off campus or something?
Yes, they lived off campus, and actually, I guess a friend of one of theirs was critically injured as well. A young man, Micah Parham. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but he's critically injured, and I don't know what his status is. But, yeah, that's what's going on.
And, Christy, I'm glad just now that you mentioned and you said, that the family, hopefully the family of the accused finds comfort as well, because, often that is some of the victims that are often overlooked. Of course, the ones that lost their lives, their families are just shattered. But, when you have a young person that you have raised all your life, in order to be successful and, to accomplish something with themselves, and then they take it upon themselves to take somebody else's life, that, of course, is devastating to them as well. So, yes, definitely much comfort to all of those families.
And I was incorrect on those 2 young ladies being part of the band. They were actually part of Bethune-Cookman's gospel choir. But as you all know, the choir and the band, there's a lot of hanging out between those 2 organizations, and so I just wanted to mention that because it could have easily happened to any one of our band members, and so I just like I said, and like Rashad has said, I just wish nothing but peace for the families and friends of all of those all of the people involved.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the same building. I know. Remember, at Jackson State, it's the same music building. So, the marching band was out there, but even in the practice rooms was your voice people, the gospel choir, the jazz band. I mean, the whole music department is a huge family. And it could have, like you said, it could have been someone over there from the band, or anybody. That's a trip. It blows my mind to hear anybody dying or either taking someone's life at the college level. Any level really, but we definitely need to make sure that we have those folks in our prayers. So Rashad, I guess melancholy moving on there. Is there anything that you had that you wanted to wrap up? Anything, any news that you wanted to put out there before we signed off for the night?
Well, why don't you ask me to go first? My God.
Well, okay, we can end up on something positive.
Yeah,
I'm supposed to follow that, Well, we showed some stats,
Yeah, my bad. Well, I always want to let Christy go first, So I mean,
Yeah, we had to revisit that.
Sorry.
No, but definitely, and please, let's always remember that, as we say, Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives Matter doesn't just apply to when somebody that's outside of our race decides to take our life. Let's just keep that in mind. So, but other news, Block Band is continuing to do well. So we just delivered song number 150 for 2015. Last year we delivered. Thank you. So last year we delivered, I think it was 213 pieces of music. So, we're still just in September, and we only have, 63 more songs to go in order to beat that record. So we're very excited about that. 150 songs delivered, 4 drills delivered, and we have been sending spats and shoes and gloves and flags and drum heads and angle bars and nearly everything else to schools all across the nation. I mean, we're talking about, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. We're about to start working with somebody in Florida, Tennessee, Missouri, even Ferguson, Missouri. I mean, I could go on and on with places that we have been sending music, and New Jersey, New York, places that we've been sending stuff to. And, I'm just really excited about the company. I'm very excited about staff that we bring on. Block Band is a company where you, as a graduate of an HBCU, you really have an advantage. And there's probably not that many companies out there where that is the case. But you having experienced show-style band, you have the opportunity to become a part of something that we appreciate you for the experience that you have. But we do more than just music. We have a lot of staff. We have you had mentioned Robert earlier, Robert Bratcher, who is he is a social media person for KK-Sci. For all of that. Of course, KK-Sci is a mixed race organization. So for being the social media / graphic design person for KK-Sci, that's a pretty big deal for him to be African American, and he also is our social media person. And we have people that do invoices for us and all kinds of things. So I say that to say that there is a world to participate in when it comes to show style band. There's a lot of things that you can do in this art form. You don't just have to just march in the band and just put it down and then that's it. There's a lot of opportunities for you to be involved in some things. And so to all of our listeners, I'm asking you to think about, well, what can you do? I mean, we've got a lot of videographers out there, and that's really cool, that are helping to show everybody else what's going on. But maybe you can get involved in your local band program or help to, create some more of these all-star bands or, just the numerous opportunities. There's a major financial blessing in show style band, and somebody's going to participate in that, eventually. So why not you? So that's what Block Band is doing. We are just really pushing to be a part of that as well, and we hope others will join us in that.
Outstanding.
Just like you, Joe, with your radio show.
Yeah, definitely. Christy, anything else? Any other news? Anything that we should be looking out for coming up this week?
Well, not anything in particular. I mean, I'm just gonna continue to blog and see what's out there as far as bands are concerned. And if you wanna add me on Periscope, my username is at Christy5Q. That's spelled CHRISTY, the number 5 and the letter Q. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening in the next few weeks.
That's outstanding. Well, just for me, if anyone's listening, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor or a patron to the Marching Podcast, please contact the show. We'll give you the criteria so we can start to pub your business using our platform. We'll play your commercial. We'll show your icon during the broadcast, as you guys have heard and are seeing now. And we'll post your website on our blog, and we'll help send out your information through social media. We have a YouTube page now, and we're posting those episodes. We're on Twitter at Marching Podcast. Definitely check out our blog and follow our blog. We post all of the broadcasts after the broadcasts have happened on our blog. So if you miss them, or if you don't have a catch them, or if you don't have a consistent pod catching way of following the broadcast, you can follow the blog, and that's a good way to always get the last update. Or the best way is going to blogtalkradio.com/Marching Podcast and hitting the blue follow button, and you'll always get an email, or you'll always be prepped before the actual show is coming on. So shout out to everybody that listened this weekend. It was really cool. Really excited about Periscope and in the upcoming weeks. So really, really, like I said, excited about that. And thanks again to Rashad and Miss Christy Walker. Have to give you guys a round of applause. Definitely one thing my mom's, when she came in, that's definitely the truth, but definitely the rigor, the attention to detail, and then the musicality, adding that to the discussion definitely adds the validation, if you will. And then, of course, it's all up to the eye, what we believe, what we see. I saw so many folks was like, oh, Jackson State took it bad, or, Southern took it. It was definitely in the eye of the beholder. I think the greatest thing is that, we're having a healthy conversation about our schools. And if enough people listen to us enough, they'll be able to name all the HBCUs in the country, just like we're able to name all of the teams in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Just because we're talking this healthy conversation or such. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. So anything else? Let's see here, right before this is about to, I think the exit news is about to start here. I'll leave it to you, Christy. Anything else, the party shouts out before we leave?
Okay, I want to give a shout-out to everybody that's Periscoping. I love y'all. Thank you for looking out for me, because I have Sprint, and it sucks. So, yeah, shout-out to everybody, all my band heads. Much love. And a big old Aggie Pride. Had to put that in there for good measure.
Right. What's up with you, Rashad? Any party shots, man?
Yeah, I just want to give more recognition to the North Carolina-Virginia battle that's going to be happening on this coming Sunday. So if you guys enjoyed the battle between Virginia Union and Elizabeth City State, particularly watching the male twirler, you'll get a chance to see him again on this Sunday, as well as North Carolina A&T and many of the headliners between those two states. And so we'll be there, and as well, I think Norfolk State and Hampton will be matching up this past weekend. So we're going to do a 2-day thing this weekend in order to check that out.
That's outstanding. We've come to the end of our show tonight. Thanks for listening. That's all the time we have. Check out the website, donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks to you for listening. And remember, the lectures you deliver may be very fine and true, but I'd rather get my lesson by observing what you do. See you next time.